Hi, and welcome to the last video we're going to be doing until the new year. So, the Mavstar Observatory will go into sleep mode from today. That doesn't mean that we won't be recording any data because, that machine that we built looks after itself. I'll just make sure that, when I do pass, that the red light is still flashing and that it is still collecting data. Guys, there's a lot of information I want to give you because simply I want to round up this year and I want to let you know exactly where we all stand with regards to where the poles are right now and, how long is left before we hit that all-important 40 degrees. For those that don't know why 40 degrees is important, because many years ago we started doing a lot of experiments and we found that by heating up certain magnetic material it lost its ability. We also found a lot about the weak and strong magnetic field lines, and when usually a magnetic material goes out of its 40 degree region, it then reverses at that point, so it leaves the strong field lines, which keeps it in a slowly migrating pattern, and it enters the weak field lines where it picks up rapidly and goes into a reversal. So what I wanted to tell you is exactly where we are with the poles right now over the northern hemisphere and give you an approximate time left before we hit the all-important 40 degrees. As you can see on this chart, there's 2018 and here's the 40 degree mark, so you can see by all these little pins how far the magnetic North Pole has migrated to date over the last 118 years. So we are at this present time a migrational distance of 1,566 miles. That means we have around 334 miles left before we get to the 40 degrees, and this was based on the fact that each degree increment was a measure of 47 miles over the northern hemisphere. So putting this into a time period then, with regards to standard migrational speeds, we're looking around about 7 years before we hit that all-important 40 degrees, which will put us around 2026. That is, if we don't see a change in the pattern at the speed of which we have been covering over the last few years. Now, there's a point I want to make here. We set up this equipment to monitor, this gear change or this specific migrational speed shift, where, again, as we've seen over the last 3 times it's did this, it's covered more speed and therefore it increased speed and therefore covered more distance. I want to show you some data recently taken, and I want to also bring it to your attention that over the last couple of months we may well have witnessed a slight change in that speed. And I will say this when I show you the data, that there is something unusually happening right now over the northern hemisphere with regards to the magnetic North Pole. And what that is we're seeing a 3 degree or 120 thereabouts mile fluctuation, and it's sporadic, and this is the first time in 19 months that our equipment has spotted something like that. So we are seeing some change in the behaviour over the northern hemisphere with the magnetic North Pole, and that could be another increase in speed. It would be exactly what I anticipated, given the fact that we are around about 300 miles away from that 40 degree period. As we get closer to those weak field lines, we will start to see some shifting in the behaviour of the pole. And what happens at that 40 degree point could be the beginnings of it moving into the weak field lines, where there's a faster transition, which means we get into the pole reversal. Or, we could see a diminishing of the North Pole, and, we could also see the beginnings of, a pole appearing somewhere else, or many poles appearing somewhere else over the planet. We have reached the point in time where something is changing with that magnetic North Pole over the northern hemisphere right now, and, anything can happen. We have no idea what to expect, really, because we've never had any recorded data of a magnetic North Pole, and the reason for that is because the last time this happened was 780,000 years ago, so we're going on historical records. Now, there are a lot of experts in other organisations which suggest that we are, hundreds of years away, if not thousands of years away, from a pole reversal. And I've got to say this, from what data I've covered and collected over the probably several years now that I've been doing this, I think we're a lot closer than that, and I think that we are definitely going to see this happen in our lifetimes. And, it won't be something that happens in our children's lifetimes. We are going to go through this pole reversal in our lifetimes, and it is likely that we are going to do it before 2026. And guys, the reality really is what you see in this chart, in the data. How anyone can suggest that we are hundreds of years, if not thousands of years away from this event taking place is beyond my figuring out. I don't know how they can suggest that when the facts speak for themselves in this chart. Now guys, before I end the video, I want to just show you some of the raw data to bring out that trend, what we've noticed taking place over the last 3 months. Although we're only looking at just under a month's worth of data, and this data, as you can see, ends on the 12th of the 12th, 2018. That's the reason for that is I don't want to keep unplugging the SD card, clearing the card off. I want to keep it for another month. I want to see how it goes on, but we're going to definitely be focusing on the filtered data that we're looking at right now. So, we take thousands and thousands of readings a month, and what we look for when we filter the data is specifics, and in this case we're looking for the highest reading. And you can see by, this is the year, part of the date stamp when it collects that individual piece of data. We've got the month of the year, and then we've got the day of the month of the year, and then we've got the time it was taken, and then this one here is the heading and the magnetometer that has taken that reading. Now, there is a massive fluctuation from about 10.15 to 12.59 and 12.99, which means that is a 3-degree shift in the pole at a specific time. This is what we're seeing. The pole now bouncing a distance of over 120 miles, and the reason why I mentioned this to you guys is because we've not seen this happen before. We've never had such high readings before. It was a delight to see the progression of the magnetic pole migrate another degree, which shows us that it's still tracking westerly towards Siberia, and it hasn't deviated from its course and that trend which it has for the last 100 years. Only now it has moved, sporadically on these dates, nearly 3 degrees in one day and in a short space of time. So something has changed with the behaviour, and that is exactly what we built the equipment to do, to detect, that probably next speed shift in the, pole migration. And it could be early signs of what we're seeing right now, because we haven't seen this before with our equipment. So, it is becoming really, really interesting times. I'm excited in one respect that the equipment is doing exactly what we wanted it to do, but in the other, I know we are moving that step closer to that 40-degree mark. And, there is a little bit of anticipation as to what to expect, because, we can speculate, and that's all we can do. We will not know until, we start to see the effects of what happens when it goes into those 40-degree regions, and into those weak field lines. So guys, that's where we are. And, the only other thing to say, guys, to you is, we are at that period of time where we'll be spending a lot of time with the family over the festive season. And, a lot of work has gone into this observatory over now spanning 7 years. We used to just talk about it at one point. Now we're actually actively doing something about it. And, if you want to buy a beer for those efforts. The link's down there, guys. I will definitely drink a beer with you at this time of the year, and I'll say that I will be seeing you in the new year. So, have a great time with your family, enjoy the Christmas, and I'll be back in the new year again with data and giving you a heads up as to, trying to figure out where this is all going. So, have a great time, guys, and as always, bye for now.